Hello. I'm on the road again because I forgot some things in Sioux Falls and I start my new job tomorrow. And so I'm meeting my little brother halfway between Sioux Falls and Brookings to get the rest of my stuff for my job tomorrow, which I said before. But this video is a video about boundaries, okay? And also the fear of being seen because of the lack of boundaries that you or anyone you know does not possess yet. They're there, they want to have them there, but there is this fear of rejection. There is this fear of judgment, of hate, of criticism, of all the things that people do fear because they have not been allowed to adequately have boundaries up and have people respect them. And some of the things that you'll hear, why can't you just put that aside and do this for the family? Why can't you just be a little bit more tolerant? Why can't you just? Okay. Now I talked about this a little bit on my TikTok. It was kind of like an angry, early rising rant, but it kind of rings true still, where a lot of the things we end up harboring in our spirit and we hold on to are the results of our lack of boundaries. Painful, I know. And so I wanted to really have an open and honest conversation about that today as I'm driving to go pick up the rest of my tools for the new salon and spa that I'm going to be working at, which I'm super excited. I'm a little nervous, but you know what? If you're not nervous about something, you probably didn't really want it that badly. And I also feel like that this also comes into having your new boundaries, like the nerves. Sometimes having the nerve to put yourself first, having the nerve to have a true boundary and put yourself on the self-respect level that you deserve is a little overwhelming. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm so happy that I did not share this change with the people who I was fearful around expressing my boundaries and my needs to, because I knew over the course of my lifetime that they don't respect me. And for the longest time, I didn't respect me, okay? I was like trying to, I don't want to say argue my point, but kind of. I was trying to argue my point, get them to treat me better, get them to respect my boundaries when that was only harming me, okay? And your boundaries are, now sometimes boundaries can be healthy and unhealthy. And a lot of the times, because we don't have adequate boundaries around ourselves, that is an unhealthy space to be in, okay? And damn, I feel like I might be farther out than 10 minutes. I told my little brother I'll be there in 5 to 10 minutes. False. I will probably be there in 15 minutes, but it's fine. Anyways, so your lack of boundaries is costing you your peace of mind. Your lack of boundaries is costing you self-respect. Your lack of boundaries is costing you your self-worth. It's costing you your abundance. It's costing you sleep at night. It's having a negative effect on your nervous system, on your hormones, on your spiritual health, your emotional health, your physical health. It is costing you more than it is benefiting somebody else. Because the biggest thing with boundaries is that there's a fine line between having your boundary crossed and being taken advantage of, okay? Oh, just kidding, I am 5 minutes out. Beep, perfect. Now, why do I say that? Because people pleasing also is a lack of boundaries. Damn. People pleasing is a lack of boundaries. People pleasing is also trauma response. People pleasing is also you having low self-respect, period. Like, I don't care what you say. I don't care how you try to flip it. If you are people pleasing, you don't respect yourself yet. If you are people pleasing, what's happening is you're now taking from yourself, which is probably an empty cup, and pouring it into somebody else's cup because you're afraid of the pushback. Okay? Now, I'm not even going to stop this video. I'm going to keep it rolling when I exchange this stuff with my little brother, because he's one of those people that also has to learn boundaries. I paid him to actually drive up here today because I'm like, damn, you don't have to do it. I was going to drive down to Sioux Falls anyway. Like, I need this shit to go to work tomorrow. And so if I don't do this, then fuck. You know what I'm saying? And I've discovered that a lot of these coping mechanisms, a lot of these habits that we've formed around people pleasing, the lack of self-respect, the not having boundaries, the identity issues, all come from your original environment. It's coming from your parents. It's coming from your peers, specifically your parents, though, because the parents are the first people to like let you know whether or not they respect you or have an intention to respect you. A lot of those times, parents have children to appease their ego. Okay? I just love how this looks today. This is really a vibe. It's really to appease their ego. Because if they really wanted to have children because they're good people, what they would have done is they would have had kids and be able to listen objectively, which they're unable to do. Let's pull up next to him. 1 minute. Okay. So I just had this weird realization after exchanging a hug with my little brother and giving him a free haircut, and I gave him money for driving up here, that I have been out of high school for 15 years. Like, what? 15 15 fucking years I've been out of high school. That is crazy to think about, okay? Lord. Anyway. So, I'm so thankful for him. He's, out of all of my family, and I don't really, him and I have remained close. Even when he was going through, like, his major issues with addiction, we have still remained kind of close. I had to step away for a while because, again, my boundaries, it was infringing on my boundaries. Oh, damn, I didn't know Pipestone was fucking 27 miles away from here. That's crazy. Anyway, I care too much. And a lot of the reasons, and a lot of the times, the reason why I care too much is because I know how it feels to be out and ostracized from a group of people. I know how it feels to be left on your own to process your emotions. I know how it feels to not really have a shoulder to lean on or cry on when you absolutely need it. And no one should ever have to feel like that. But I had a boundary around myself that I needed to uphold myself for my mental health. And that is really, and my spiritual health. And that's really what it comes down to. That's why we have boundaries. And your lack of boundaries is keeping you floundering. And it was so unhealthy for me to continue to do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result when I knew what the result was going to be. Okay? Now, this is an opportunity where I'm going to do a shameless plug. Okay? So go follow my TikTok page, which is The Collective One. It's literally the same handle on every single one of my social medias. Go follow my Collective One page. Follow my Collective One blog. www.thecollectiveoneblog.com. On there you can find all the beautiful candles that I hand make and put my intention into, because that really is a healing modality for me. I love creating, and I love things that smell good and feel good, okay? And they're just amazing, affordable, clean, multi-purpose candles, which means that during sexy time you can pour them over yourself and, you know, all the things. Anyway. But my spiritual health and me talking my truth and remaining in contact with family members that I feel safe around is my boundary. If I don't feel safe around you, that is not my job to learn how to feel safe around you, because I'm in the process of healing right now. And if I feel unsafe around, this is how I generally feel, okay? It's your job to make yourself a safe space for people. It is not people's job to make you a safe space for them. That's not how it fucking works. That is where we have it mixed up in the collective. It is not your job to make yourself feel safe around other people. If you're feeling unsafe around people, you need to get up from around those other fucking people. It is their job to do their work, to remain a safe space or make themselves a safe space for people to be around them. And it's my job to be able to determine whether or not you're a safe space for me or not. A lot of the times, these people that we keep in our space are not safe spaces. They've taken you for granted at some point in time. They've gaslit you at some point in time, forgotten about you, intentionally not included you in shit, talked down to you, manipulated you, made you feel bad, you know what I'm saying? Called you everything but a child of God. Like, a lot of the times, what we're doing is we're responding to the status quo, which was favoring other people. And we also were providing and aiding in that status quo, dealing with those other people. Because every single time you allow someone to disrespect your boundaries and you stay around them, you're also adding to the stress in your own life. And what the fuck does that show about yourself? Okay? What does that show about yourself? That you don't respect yourself. If you don't uphold your own boundaries and you don't respect your own boundaries, no, you cannot expect anybody else. No one is going to do that for you. You have to do that for you. This is one of the hardest things that I've had to maintain is, why is it that specific people in my family know about my life? Because my inner child feels safe around them. Period. If I don't feel safe around you, I can't be around you right now until my body and my nervous system has healed enough to be around you according to how I want to be around you. Sometimes distance and absence makes a heart grow fonder, but it does not take away the trauma and the feeling of inadequacy that these people made you feel. It is not your job to do their work. It's your job to do your work. And if that means that you have to have a firm wall, like a goddamn wall of Berlin around you so people cannot cross it, then that's what you gotta do. And you also have to be able to stand 10 toes down in your decision. And if you're not willing to stand 10 toes down in your decision, well then they're not gonna respect that boundary and uphold it either. They're trying to tear that wall down to continue to benefit them. For why? Oh, because you lack self-respect? Because you want the approval of your family, of your old friend groups, your peers, your classmates, your coworkers? Just be you. And the more you respect yourself, the more they will respect you. What is this nigga doing? Is he walking? He's genuinely walking. Oh, he's working. Okay. I was like, oh my God, what is happening here? Who's hitchhiking on the side of the road going the wrong direction? That's weird. You have to respect yourself more than the other people around you and outside of yourself. I was listening to a live, Isis Wisdom's live, and I made a comment, and I should have added more context to it, but I was driving, and so I shouldn't have even commented in the first place. But I was saying how I've actually lost a lot of people that I thought were close to me, like people who I considered sisters, brothers, family to me, because they thought that what I was practicing was devil worship, was demonic. And it made me feel icky. I'm like, damn, like, y'all clearly don't know where you come from, and damn, y'all really don't know who the fuck I am. You see me for what I put out there. And part of that's my fault, you know what I mean? But I have been practicing this specific healing and spiritual modality for so long, and it's brought a lot of blessings to me. It's brought me to a space of alignment within myself and a place of understanding with myself that it wasn't for them to get to. It was for them to experience me and also help them at the same time and in the same breath. Okay? And she said in this, she's like, so why did you listen to people outside of yourself? And I didn't listen to them. Actually, I'm not around them anymore. That's why I said I lost people close to me who thought that what I was doing was demonic, because they did not have respect enough for themselves and their ancestors to really, truly dive in and hear really what this is coming from. They're listening to things outside of themselves, and I can't do that shit anymore. I've done it for too long. It's not beneficial by any means at all. In fact, it's harmful. That's a harmful way to live, is to continue to listen to people outside of yourself, and then you integrate these things into your being, thinking that's what you should be doing, when in all actuality, it's taking you farther away from yourself. Farther away from yourself. And now you got to do way more work to try to find yourself than you would have if you would have just been authentic to you and what you want to practice and your ancestors and what you're getting internally. But we are so afraid of listening to ourselves because we've also been conditioned to not listen to ourselves. Because when we don't listen to ourselves and our internal dialogue, people outside of us benefit from that. Okay? And if they're benefiting from it, what do we get? We get the shit end of the stick. It takes us a lot longer to do our healing work and to come back to ourselves than it would have if we would have just listened to ourselves in the first fucking place. But sometimes that internal dialogue is so unfamiliar because we've gone so long without listening to it that it's easier for us to take the guidance and the words of other people because, again, societally, we have been conditioned to do so. Honor your father and mother. What happens when they're disrespecting me, gaslighting me, manipulating me, talking down to me, ostracizing me, punishing me, and upholding unrealistic standards for just me than other people? Respect your elders. What happens if they're calling you anything other than a child of God? You're just going to sit there and take it? No. It does not mean to be disrespectful to them. It also means to be very aware of yourself and your emotional body. Super duper self-aware. You have to have self-awareness in order to be able to ascend to the next level. You have to have self-awareness in order to know what your spirit is telling you. You have to have self-awareness in order to make sure you keep yourself in alignment, because no one else can keep you in alignment. I've said that time and time and time again. And the more you listen to people outside of yourself, the more unaligned you're going to be. And you're going to feel weird. And you're going to feel off. And you're going to feel like your equilibrium was fucked up. And your emotional state is fucked up. And your spiritual state is fucked up. And you're like, don't even know what's up and down right now. You can be going east to west thinking that shit's north to south. And it's fucking not. Thinking that the sun rises in the west and sets in the east when it doesn't. Putting poison in your body to drown out the sounds, to make you feel nothing at all, because the sensory that you're feeling is so over fucking whelming that I don't know why these cows are goddamn running right now. What the hell? Okay, I love the head bobs of the cows. They're so just beep, bop. Oh, I love it. Anyways. drowning out the sounds, drowning out your emotional body and your emotional communication with you and your spiritual communication with you with substances is also how we keep people benefiting outside of ourselves. The better you are for yourself, the better you are for the collective. The more you heal yourself, the more the collective can heal. The more you listen to your own internal dialogue, your own intuition, your own spirit, your own emotional body, your ancestors, to God, the more it's going to benefit the collective. Because the better you are, the healthier you are for you, the healthier you can be for the collective, which is in turn forcing the collective to upshift. A lot of the times people don't want to even... They don't want to be a part of the collective. They want the collective to be a part of them, which means that what they're doing is they're using and manipulating the energy to solely benefit them and boost their ego, and not for the benefit of the collective. And that shit's not okay. It's more harmful. And so in this live, I was talking to Isis Wisdom. She goes by, I am the realest the number 2, ever do it. And I responded back in that when I could. I said, I didn't listen to them because it made me feel weird. It didn't feel right to me. So that's why they're not around me anymore. Because why would I keep people around me that are causing me harm? It may not be physical abuse, it may not be verbal abuse, but spiritual manipulation and emotional gaslighting and abuse is also still abuse. I think the biggest thing that I've recognized is that it's hard to even verbalize this stuff, because I wasn't physically abused by my family, but I was emotionally neglected. I was spiritually neglected. My needs were neglected. I had to just get what I got and not throw a fit. And I didn't throw a fit. My parents will, and I will say this, if you follow me enough, you've seen a lot of the content that I put up on social medias, on my TikTok, my Instagram, my Facebook, even my YouTube that I'm starting to get more, used to using. I've said multiple times, I wasn't physically abused. I wasn't. And so that's also confusing, because we equate to abuse to having physical marks on our body, when that's absolutely not the case. We equate abuse to sexual traumas. We equate abuse differently than what it actually is as well. I didn't have a bad life. I just got the bare minimum. And the people that I got the bare minimum from still give themselves and everybody else around them the bare minimum. And I'm worth more than that. And so it's confusing to talk about, because it's not like I'm ungrateful for shit, but also at the same time, I didn't ask you to adopt me. I didn't ask you guys to fucking take me on all these vacations and give me the stuff and not the emotional things that I need, not the spiritual needs that I needed to have met. I grew up in an emotionally unavailable environment. It was emotionally unsafe. It was spiritually unsafe and spiritually unavailable. And having conversations with my family, they also will agree to that. So speaking about it is also confusing, because I'm like, well, I wasn't hit. It's not like I didn't go without food. I mean, I was fed, you know what I mean? But then I also look at the actions. Like, I was in a mental hospital for half of my sophomore year because my emotional needs were not getting met. I tried to kill myself. And then I had eating disorders and shit like that, because any attention that I could get from my family, any type of, and literally any eyesight or viewpoint I would get from them was a breadcrumb. And because I wasn't getting the breadcrumbs that I needed, or the full meal that I needed, if you will, emotionally, spiritually, and things like that, specifically emotionally and spiritually, because again, they were like, we're gonna buy you stuff and that should be enough, and that's not it for me. Like, I've never been about the things. And that's also probably why I don't like stuff, because you can't just buy my love. Like, you gotta show me you love me based off of your actions, and that's not what you can pull out of your wallet and swipe a credit card and put cash on the counter. Like, that's not it for me, But I look at how my mental state was and my spiritual state was, and it was extremely unwell. And I wasn't in a space to speak about this shit. And so now I have to. And because I have to do it now, I have very firm boundaries around myself and what I will and will not accept. You don't have to live my life. But you do have to respect my boundaries. Whether you like them or not. They're there for a reason. Okay? Spiritual health and emotional health are the biggest needs. Children come into this world knowing that their needs are going to get met. You're going to change my diaper. You're going to put clothes on my back and get me to sleep and give me the bottles and all the things. But what you're not doing is you're not looking at the slow twitch, the fast twitch, the facial expressions, the emotional state of the child, the spiritual state of the child. You're programming that out of them. And you wonder why there's such a disconnect between parent and child. I had a conversation with my mom, and she's like, what about all the things that I've done for you, the vacations and the clothes that I've bought you and all the dance stuff and this and that? And I'm like, bitch, I paid you back for almost everything. Literally, I literally paid you back for things. I didn't steal from you to go get drugs or alcohol like my siblings did. I didn't crash vehicles like they did when they were high as shit and drunk as hell. I didn't threaten to kill myself because I was high on fucking meth like one of my siblings was, who just gave me this stuff, and so he's sober now, but like him and I are really close. But the point that I'm trying to make is I didn't do half of the manipulative shit that my brothers did, and they still get a better treatment from my parents. I had to really take a hard look at that shit. And for the longest time I was screaming, treat me better, treat me better, treat me better, do right by me, when I wasn't doing right by me. I did not have my own personal healthy boundaries up because I didn't think that I was worthy of them, because I was programmed into thinking that I wasn't worthy of them. It didn't even start with them, but it continued with them. My adoption, the person who gave me up at birth, is the one that started this whole thing. Inadvertently. You know what I mean? Like, knowing what I know now about, how the energy centers form in the body, the chakras and how they function, what happens when they're disrupted. Like, I know in my spirit it started from her, from birth. Like, your root chakra forms from birth, from conception to 6.5 months old, which means that your stability, your foundation, everything that it is that you need and require to live, to function, to do anything, is so important that if you don't have those things, then now your chakra is going to be misspun. Now you have to do more work, and now your needs are going to be off, and now your emotional state is going to be off, now your emotional connectivity is going to be off. Everything is going to be off. All because of the root chakra. And that had nothing to do with my adoptive family. It had everything to do with my original entrance into this realm and what my soul signed up for. But it was their job to help create a stable foundation and to create a stable network and to create an open emotional space. It was their job to do that stuff. A free line of communication, boundary, like allowing your boundaries to be boundaries, to meet your needs, all of them, your physical, your financial, your spiritual, your emotional needs. And if they weren't able to do and provide those things, well, now they're aiding and keeping that chakra mis-spinning. Which means that now your other 6 chakras outside of that is going to take way more work for those to get spun the correct way, because you have the first one, the main one, out of balance. How about them apples? Okay? It's not their job to fix you, it's your job to fix you. But when you don't even know how to do that because you've been programmed to think that your needs, wants, emotional successes, spiritual successes, and communication isn't important, then you're not really going to know where to begin. Okay? Interesting. You're just not. I don't have my tags, and so I'm like making sure I put my invisibility cloak up, and I put my shields up and my cloaks up, and my spirit team is also protecting me and guiding me and shielding me, but I don't have my tags, and so I'm like hyper aware of that. And so I'm just making sure that I'm not about to get into a situation, because I really can't afford that right now. So yeah, let me follow suit. Anyways, so long story short is that your boundaries are your ticket to a regulated nervous system. Your boundaries is a ticket to having your financial freedom. Your boundaries is your ticket to your healing journey and your shadow work. Your boundaries is literally your ticket to freedom. Your lack of boundaries is keeping you enslaved to people outside of you. Your lack of boundaries is keeping you enslaved to the energy of lack. Your lack of boundaries is causing you more harm than it is good. And yeah, we want to be able to do shit for other people and pour into the collective and help everyone else as well. Excuse me. But you cannot do that if you are unhealed. You cannot do that if you're not pouring into yourself. You cannot do that if you don't know how to help yourself first and other people with whatever you have left. That's just not how it works, babe. So, I implore you to really do the deep diving work that I have been doing, and I'm still actively doing it, on how to have healthy boundaries and how to pour into yourself and really do the self-care outside of just doing a facial and, you know, getting your nails done and going to the spa and shit. Like, this is really self-care, is releasing that stagnant energy, that built up aggression or anger or sadness or indifference or whatever it is that you're feeling. That is what self-care is. Okay? So do that work. I bet you anything, you'll feel significantly better when you do that than you would by people pleasing. Because whenever I was people pleasing and whenever I was foregoing my boundaries and whenever I was gaslighting myself to benefit somebody else, it had a negative effect on me. Like, I just couldn't continue on that way. It wasn't healthy for me. And because it wasn't healthy for me, I couldn't be healthy for other people. I was still holding resentment. I was still holding anger. I was still holding sadness and bitterness and lack in my auric space when I was continuing to people please my way through life, because I didn't respect my own boundaries yet. And because I didn't respect my own boundaries yet, I couldn't do anything else. I kept myself poor and in poverty. I kept myself going from job location to job location. I kept myself from being able to fucking pay my bills on time. I kept myself from having meaningful connections with people who I felt like really were helping me out, who were there for me, not to do shit to me or take advantage of me. I was keeping myself in an energetic space of lack. And I had no one to blame but myself. And because I couldn't blame anyone else but myself, that was when I had to be very, very accountable. Like, extra accountable for myself. Because again, I know that how I show up to my future kids' lives determine my healing that I've done before they get here. And me having firm boundaries around me is going to allow me to have firm boundaries around my family and around my children and around my husband and around whatever it is that they want to do or experience, because you're not going to treat them the way that I got treated, because I have done my healing work to know that that's not how I'm going to operate. I'm not giving my kids a life that they have to heal from. They're going to be able to thrive, because the mental state of the mother determines how successful your children are. And the more I speak my truth, the less bloated I am, the less stress I have, the more peace I have, the better I'm able to sleep at night. My digestive system is functioning properly. Like, there's way more benefits from speaking your truth than there are negative effects. The end. Like, there shouldn't be any. If I'm healthier because I'm speaking my truth and I'm letting you know my boundaries in the moment, like, your feelings and your things are reserved for you, not for me. So you can deal with them. It's not for me to deal with. I don't have to make you safe with me. I have to make me safe for the collective. And if that means that you have healing work to feel safe in yourself, that's not for me to do. It's your job to heal yourself, to be able to be in a space where you are safe collectively to be around. And if you're fucking not, your reality is going to show that. You can have the nicest shit in the world and still be miserable. And I come from that. And I vowed to myself to not be like that. Ever again. Ever again. Like, you can't just buy my affection. You can't just buy my love because you know you did me wrong. That's creating an unhealthy relationship with the self. That's creating an unhealthy dynamic between you and your children. An unhealthy dynamic between the child and their adult self and their future self and their professional life and their personal life and all the things. That's not safe for you. Your job is to feel safe within yourself. And the safer you feel and more secure you feel with yourself, the more approachable you will be. Period. So I just pulled up back to the loft and I see this moving company moving stuff out, and I'm curious to see if it has to do with the people's apartment that we're moving into. So that's the end of this video. Like, follow, subscribe, go to the blog, get you a candle, read some more information than what I've been putting out there. There's a lot of healing about healing from adoption on that stuff too. Like, it's amazing. This is like some of the best work that I think I'm putting out there. So y'all have a fantastic day, and I will see you at the next video.